Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This one's from the garage. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me again. Now, we all know what happened to Peter Lynch in prison, put there by a system to set an example to everybody else that's coming out and saying what you think about what's going on in your country is not acceptable. Shut your mouth, toe the line, and everything else. He ended up getting pulled into we'll call them riots, stroke demonstrations in the wake of the Southport children that lost their lives tragically at the hands of that nutter who went round and decided it would be a good idea to try and kill and murder a lot of people. The one you're talking about, and I will put the thumbnail on the screen here of the video that I did the other day. There it is right there, and the face of the man that we are talking about. When you have a situation where the safety of our kids is involved and it's to their detriment, it's going to create a lot of passion and a lot of fire in many people. Now, Peter ended up in prison for 2.5 years was his sentence. And one of the things that he was found guilty of was violent disorder. There was no violence. According to everything I've seen, everything I've looked at, he was standing there with a placard with various things adorned on it. And he wasn't a violent man. He was a grandfather. He was out there doing what he believed was the right thing to do in the wake of what happened. Got caught up in everything, and like other individuals, ended up inside. And look what happened. Well, that video was, it blew up. There was many views on it, many comments. And I'm not the only YouTube person that's covered this over the last couple of days. And it was trending very heavily on Twitter as well. So you could see it was something that everybody wanted to talk about. Now, what I want to do is go through some of your comments and air your views. And we can see what you thought about what happened. So here we go. Right. 345 Sea Dog. Peter Lynch suffers as a result of attempting to protect his country from a tyrant and should never have been in jail. That's exactly what I was just referring to in the opening monologue here. When something happens or when a series of events happens, there are a lot of voices all over the country, aren't there, that are saying, I don't like this anymore. And particularly when youngsters are involved, it makes you emotional enough that you want to come out and do something about it. It started in Southport and it spread to other places. And, we saw what we saw. And you even had people coming out literally just to see what the hell was going on and getting their collars felt. It was just a mass. We're going to make an example of you. Boom. There we go. And again, awful. And all I can say is condolences to his family. Dagoff, you are -1. It's a bit of a mouthful. I hope I got that right. Starmer, the far-left Marxist dictator in the UK, took this man's life. He needs to stand trial. There's no other option. Look up Starmer's past and the International Revolutionary. How such a far-left extremist entered into a position of authority in the UK, let alone the highest, needs serious questioning. There is a lot of information out there that's, I'm not going to go too far into that, but there is a lot of information out there which other creators have covered. You can Google those terms that I just read out, and there is a lot of information about certain people's past and what they got up to before they entered into the public imagination. It does make for interesting reading. Oh, here we go. Richard Strangeward, don't be a complete prat. When comments start like that, I raise an eyebrow. I did a video about this the other day. He broke the law and was sent to prison. Starmer never forced him to go out rioting. He was convicted of offences in court, and he was sent to prison according to what he was convicted of. Correct. Very correct. I agree with you there. But the point is, what situation was created within our country which incited or enticed these people to be there in the first place? Now, Peter Lynch could have been anybody. He could have been me. He could have been you. He could have been anybody else who thought enough that they couldn't sit by and let their children, their grandchildren, or whatever else suffer at this. This was such an emotional time. This was such an emotional, charged event. Maybe he should have stayed away, but he felt strongly enough. He had to go and do something and went out with his placard. And, there is videos of him online being shoved by police officers when he was standing there. But at the end of the day, the violent disorder that he was charged, I can't see anything anywhere. If I'm wrong, then please come show me, correct me, and I'll be willing to look at it. But thank you for calling me a complete prat. Okay, Stephen John. Shocking sentence and should have never have been given. Unfortunately, you forgot who changed the law in 2023, Andy. Yeah. All of these laws are put there to, serve somebody, and it's not us, is it? This is the thing with all of this. Sean, everyone should email John Healey, MP. He is Peter Lynch's MP. Ask what he is doing about the death of his constituent. Don't be abusive. Just show your concern in our democracy and lack of empathy for our government. Right. I appreciate what you're saying. And, these people are put there to represent us in that place, in that parliament. The issue is with what you've just said. There is a peculiar rule that says that if somebody emails you in your position as an MP and you're not a constituent of theirs, then they're to not respond. I don't know whether they're not allowed, unable, but basically they don't respond. I had a fairly recent experience of this where I wrote to an MP about a subject that I believed in and felt the experiences of this MP could be quite handy. And I was met with a wall of silence. So, there is some peculiar rules in that place. Haley, you get the government and the justice system you allow. Stop allowing it. This is what I was talking about the rules and everything that are in place. Ron Hay, we have to get this Starmer out when he jails our man for trying to look after the British people and the children. We have to get rid of this government. We, the British people, are stronger than the government, so let's start and throw them out. This government, after the bloody migrants in Germany, they had allowed them into their country to fly their German planes. What a joke. Get rid of this bloody government and Starmer now before they destroy our country. Now, there's a very interesting video that I did before this one saying, I don't want any part of this. Go and have a look at it. And it discusses, both sides of the argument. Do we vote or don't we? What would be the point if we did? And trying to raise that awareness. So check it out. And, that really ties into that discussion there. Mike, Starmer, you owe for this. Don't ask little Ali Thumb to pay your way. Resign. Okay, to the point. Tubbsy, this Peter Lynch fella previously had a heart attack and had diabetes. Prisons are really not good places to be in if you're in poor health. Yeah, there was a video Paz did. Obviously, he was ex-prison service, and he's seen it all. And he said effectively some nasty gangs run the prisons. I guess he should have thought of that before incitement against the refugees during an attempted pogrom. So I can't say I've much sympathy, to be honest. At this stage, though, it seems to me that we don't know enough about his death, other than it being opportunistically milked by the far right. Oh, okay. Well, the far right, I'm afraid, I feel is a false concept because we're letting politics play into this again, aren't we? You know, you could say that I'm far right for even daring to discuss this. I'm just very concerned about this country and the citizenry within it and what's going on. You say he incited, uh, violence. At the end of the day, we're surrounded by incitement everywhere we look. You know, you could go on the telly and watch the mainstream media coverage of any of these things. About bloody hell, what's going? I need to get down there. Is that what triggered him? Was it the event itself that triggered him to go and do what he did? You know, I remember going on a demonstration a long time ago, and yeah, I think there was about 3 arrests, but the rest of it was very peaceful. We just wanted to turn out and say, "Had enough of this." And when I say a long time ago, I'm going back 30 years, so it's a very long time ago. Uh, yeah, a a lot of people needed to be made an example of according to the government, and they were with these shockingly quick, shockingly long sentences. Now, from what I've seen, all he did was stand there with a placard and said, "This is what I have a problem with." And any of this major violence that occurred, trying to set fire to things, chucking bricks and stone, he didn't partake in any of that. And yet he was convicted of it. So why did a man, a grandfather in his 60s, end up being incarcerated where he was, and paid the ultimate price for it? I you know, I really don't know. I really don't know. It makes you think about what's going on in this country when you look at stuff like that. Andy Matthews, disgraceful. Hair Starmer should be in prison. Vote reform. Again, this is how people are feeling. Hell's Bells, did he really take his own life or something more? Yeah, I've seen the word allegedly used, but if you look at that face, he looked scared, didn't he? He looked scared. Uh, A fish out of water. What have I done? The realization hits. I'm going to jail. Uh, and I have someone I know that did time for something very silly long time ago, and he says never again, never again. Probably the gravity of the situation, rolled in on you. And when you think there's no other way out, when you think there's no other choice, and the walls start to close in, and you get to a point you think, is that my only option? Hmm? So who knows? Dale, UK Labour Party implement 1984 first political martyr, Peter Lynch, RIP. Yeah, it's his family, his children, his grandchildren. They're the ones that I really feel for in all this. David, Peter Lynch from the USA. We've been controlled, demolished too. Yeah, some interesting times coming up there, isn't there? In the next couple of weeks. Andrew Hubbard, two-tier government and courts. Police officers get beaten up by thugs at Manchester. No arrests are made. Poor Peter Lynch protests and go to prisons. Yeah, this is the other thing. It's the speed at which the whole thing happened. And you've got other, what I would consider very serious offences. You wanted to, that guy a couple of comments ago that talked about incitement. What about that Labour councillor? I would call that incitement. And what happened there? Why is he not in jail? Why has he been bailed to appear, fairly later on? Seems a normal speed. There's very, very big disparities in all of this throughout the whole entire saga. And we need a level playing field for everybody. You do wrong, it's as simple as that. Justin, I have friends who voted for Starmer saying how Labour would change things for the better. I've noticed how they're all very quiet now. Yes, the left kind of do that, don't they? They shout and holler. and give it the large. And then when they realise perhaps their man or their party or whatever it is isn't what they thought, they do tend to do this. I don't judge them for it because they couldn't foresee what would happen after the election. But if they vote Labour next time round, after all that has happened, I'll be choosing not to associate with them again. I wonder how long they've been your friends for. And it's a shame when politics causes people to feel like that. It's a divisive subject, isn't it? Spudman, Peter Lynch is our Alexei Navalny. Yeah, again, that's what people feel. Blue, October the 26th. Let's have a couple of comments. Another couple here. Right, Green Grugash, 1984. Sorry for my island, folks. Erin Agus Brepen Gobra. Somewhere a bespeckled despot is smiling. This creature that was elected may well be your last. They will change the demographics. History has stopped. The far left have always been more dangerous than the far right, as they hide their contempt of us with faux compassion. Or like the Harry Potter wannabe, don't even hide it. You need to vote him out ASAP. I'm with you until the bitter end. Regardless, we are with you. What's left of the fighting Irish? There are not many of us, but we have your 6. Thank you very much. And Mark, he was sentenced at Sheffield by a jury. All right. Brian Starmer should be sued for Peter Lynch. He died because of him and Labour. The parents for the 3 wee girls should all take Starmer to court and sue for the deaths. This is Starmer's fault. Yeah, very, very angry comment there. You know, this is the kind of feeling that this whole thing is generating amongst everybody out there, isn't it? Somebody mentioned far right and somebody mentioned far left. I'll leave you with this, right? You live in this country. You're born here, or you came here after being born somewhere else. Your only priorities in life are the roof over your head, your family, your wife, your kids, doing the right thing by them, keeping them safe, earning enough money to have a reasonably comfortable life, going about your business, feeling safe out there on the streets, knowing that you can go for a walk down the road and you're not going to get jumped, going to the shops, going to the supermarket, and, you know, being presented with reasonably priced food and goods so you can feed your family, driving your car, which isn't overpriced, to your local petrol station to put fuel in, which you can afford because you're going to go on a day trip to a park with your children and your significant other, all you know, normal activities that you'd think would happen. Send your kids to school where they can learn about the history of this country, where it's going, the sciences, maths, English, and, you know, get a decent education to prepare them for the rest of their life, where they will then carry on with the next generation of your family. That's how populations work. That's how we should feel. And a lot of us have to doubt whether, you know, there's some big change in the air. So something's not quite as it should be. That's how a lot of people are feeling right now. Now, am I far left? Am I far right? Or am I just concerned? This far left and far right and all the political parties and everything else that goes with it causes an awful lot of division, divisiveness and dissent. And I wonder whether it all needs looking at. I really do. Thank you very much for all your comments. I intend to do another one of these in the next couple of days on another subject. I need to keep up with them because your views need airing. They're a very important part of this channel. Please, as always, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel, because both of those actions help the algorithm recognize this and push my nonsense all over the World Wide Web. Share me on your social media. As always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.